the sideline, quickly inside the 5 to the end zone. Touchdown, Baltimore.
Touchdown, Baltimore. How things started way back at the beginning of the season. Yes, you are back on Radio Azad with the Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Rizwan. With me on the air right now, I've got Patrick Shepard. Shep, welcome back. As always, thank you for joining us to share your NFL knowledge, football knowledge. We've been talking college football quite a bit, but here we go. This is the NFL's time, isn't it?
Good morning. I have to ask a non-NFL question for you since you're in Dallas. Has the official morning started yet for the MAVS franchise?
Look,
or is it just shock right now and lack of acceptance?
You know, I honestly, so I'm sitting there. I was at this event. I was emceeing this event, got home late at night. I was getting ready for bed about midnight when all of a sudden it pops up on my phone, right? The Mavericks and Lakers trade Luka. Mavs trade Luka Doncic. All right, you know what? We're in basketball talk now. Man, it's I don't know. I think it's still shock. For the first 30 minutes, I was like, no, this is a joke. This is a hoax. No, there's no way. How do you do that? I mean, the Bucks, a downtrodden NBA franchise, having a less of a generation. I love Giannis, but he's a less of a generational talent than Luka is. They were willing to hang on against all hope, hang on and convince Giannis to stick around.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. There was zero indication in D-Town here that there was anything happening on the back end. Now, what I've realized since then, I think there was a lot of tension on the back end because of, first off, otherwise you don't do this. You don't do this, right? So I think, and I haven't had a chance to consume a whole lot of information around this morning. I think Luka must have said that he was refusing to extend beyond next year and that he was going to leave.
But still you could have gotten a better deal for him.
Oh, yes. Anthony Davis has, not only is he done, he's been done for about 2 years, right? And you got 2029 first round after Rudy Gobert has gone for 6 round ones. And I mean, the things that Karl Anthony Towns, what the Knicks gave up for him, it is absolutely insane. I mean, look, and we're going to get into a lot of this, right? I'm going to get accused of a lot of conspiracy theory stuff. But this just seems like Silver came to Cuban and said, hey, LeBron's done. I need a superstar in LA with the Lakers, and you're going to make this happen. Otherwise, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. You give up a generational talent. Yes, there's a lot of talk about his lack of defense, right? Everybody's talked about it. I think it's a little more. It's a little overblown. His defense is not as bad as everyone wants to. Yes, does he take plays off once in a while and get like absolutely beaten? Yes, but he's also one of the leaders in steals in the NBA. But forget all that. He's a triple-double machine.
Every night.
For his career, he's averaging almost a triple-double. I mean, 9+ rebounds, 9+ assists, and 30+ points. He's not just a generational talent. I firmly believed, and I mean, they were on the right trajectory, right? Getting to the finals last year, losing against a very good Celtics team. But I firmly believe, up until yesterday, I firmly believed that give him 2 or 3 more years and 1 championship, and before completing 10 years, he becomes the greatest Mav ever. surpassing. And I love Dirk Nowitzki. I love the heart he had. I love the unconventional play that he had. You know, a 7-footer shooting threes and all that good stuff. I'm a huge Dirk Nowitzki fan, but I think 10 years, one championship, Luka Doncic would have become the greatest Mavs ever. And give him 15 years, he would have been a top 3 player of all time.
Well, now LA gets to enjoy that.
It was, you know, all right. When I was younger, I let sports dictate too much of my life. I remember the, we're going to switch sports, go to football. I remember the illegal forward pass in Tennessee that the rest of the world calls the Music City Miracle.
The Music City Miracle, yeah.
The illegal forward pass by Wycheck. I remember. I was actually, I've never told this story to my audience before. I was visiting my brother in actually Orange County. I was in LA. He'd been dating this girl. Things were getting serious, so I was the first family member. And he said, "Hey, can you come over here this weekend? I want you to meet this girl because things are serious. She's probably going to be becoming a member of the family." So I had flown out there that weekend to meet with them. I couldn't go Friday, so I had flown Saturday. I was meeting with them. I think it was Saturday. I think that game took place on Saturday, because Saturday night I was supposed to meet my brother and his girlfriend for dinner after the game. I'm in my I woke up. I was like, I'm gonna stay in the hotel. I'm watching the game in the hotel. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna watch the Buffalo Bills beat up on the Tennessee. Were they the Titans or the Tuxedos? I think they were Titans by then. Anyway, I watched that game, and when that happened at the end, I remember I was lying in bed. I turned off the TV, rolled over, put the covers over my head, and went to sleep. And I didn't wake up until about 7 a.m. the next day. I had a bunch of missed calls. My brother's wondering where the heck I am. I remember, that's probably the closest. You've known me for what, 25 years, Chef. I'm a pretty easy, actually more than easygoing. I'm a happy dude, right?
You're pretty easygoing guy.
I think that was absolutely 100% the closest I had ever come to depression. Like, even after sleeping for 14 hours and not having eaten anything, I woke up, didn't want to go get breakfast. I stayed in bed for another couple of hours after waking up the next morning. But then by later in the day, I went and met up with my brother and his girl. I started to feel better. And then as I was retrospecting that day, I was like, okay, this is not normal. You can't let sports affect you this much. It's a game. Ultimately, it's a game, right? So I'm telling you this story because last night
how you feel about
at midnight, I felt almost right. I was like, initially, it was like all the stages, right? It was denial. It was. I went through all stages of grief before going to bed. I wanted to go to bed by midnight. It was a long couple of days, Friday and Saturday. Too many events, too much social life, all that good stuff. Last night, I wanted to sleep because I had a plan about the show today. And then I think I went to sleep about 2:30 or 3 a.m.
That'd make a great show one day, is the moments you have as a sports fan where you began to question why you're a sports fan.
Yeah.
Like, why do I care? Because there's a lot of moments like that. I have, for whatever reason, chosen teams, and then, like the case of Arsenal, chosen a team at the wrong time, where we just don't win. We just don't win championships. None of the teams I support win championships. It just doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you question things.
From a long-suffering Bills fan to a long-suffering Minnesota Vikings fan, I totally understand, right? But yeah, man, it was a gut punch. Like when I read it, I had just finished brushing my teeth and put the toothbrush to the side. My phone was sitting to my left on the sink, and it buzzed and it popped up. And I still remember the first 10 seconds. I just stared at it and I was like, no.
Well,
Why?
I was doom scrolling Twitter last night. I was just kind of reading the news. I'll leave out the whys. I was reading the news, but I was reading the news. Okay. And then on my Twitter feed, someone was like, keep Dallas in your prayers tonight. And I was like, oh my God, what's happened in Dallas? What tragedy has befallen the city?
Anything you could have imagined in that moment, it was worse.
That was not it. I was like, oh man, this is sports. Well, sports. Oh, well, that doesn't. So full disclosure for your audience, I have not been able to make myself follow the NBA since the Heat were given that series against Nowitzki.
Yeah.
And when Dwayne Wade was basically a puff of air fouled Dwayne Wade every time he had the ball.
Yeah.
I was like, this is one of the. And I'm not a Dallas fan. I actually don't have an NBA team. I've always just kind of like enjoyed watching the NBA, or at least until that year. And I was like, well, this is rigged. I was like, it has to be rigged. And then a few years later, I was like, let me give it a try. Everybody's talking about this team from Sacramento. They're playing LeBron. And then I was like, wait a minute.
And the Lakers, yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. This is rigged too. What's going on? So I'm just not a regular NBA watcher, but I kind of know who's, winning and who are the stars. Okay. And when I saw who they were trading him for, I was like,
a broken Anthony Davis.
Is this like 2015?
Yeah.
No. And I just immediately was like, man, that's rough. So good luck, Dallas area sports fans, at least on the pro front. I mean, SMU should be exciting. But you got the Cowboys with Schottenheimer. And I'm not saying they're trying to tank to get Arch Manning the next year.
But they're trying to tank.
That Prescott's gonna be like, fine, just give me my $60 million.
Right.
But man, what a good luck, guys.
It was an absolute gut punch. I don't know. I still haven't come to terms with it. I had resolved not to even talk about it. Right.
I started reading about it, and I don't ever read articles about the NBA anymore. And I was like, what just happened? Because at first I was like, maybe he was guilty of some kind of crime. I was like, no, then the Lakers wouldn't take him.
Yep.
I was like, this literally makes no sense. You know the phrase that is a very online phrase of make it make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, someone's going to have to make this make sense to me.
I think I may have actually tweeted that at the Mavs at about 1 a.m. last night. I think I'll go back and look, but I'm pretty sure I said make it make sense. That's funny. Man, it was an absolute gut punch. The NBA has been kind of unwatchable since the rules changes of the last 10 years. And so full disclosure, and I'm going to feel like a homer now because I've just been Luka this and Luka that for a number of years. And I'm immediately changing my tune here. But I've talked about this for years now. The NBA overall, yes, I love the stats and the triple doubles and all that Luka's been able to do. And a lot of that, most of that is of his doing, is the doing of his talent. But a part of that is the doing of the rule changes, the way, not just the rule changes, but the way rules are implemented in the modern NBA of the last 10 years. Because that offhand push off by the offensive player that has been allowed for the last 10 years, that a lot of these big time scorers, Kevin Durant, watch him play.
Oh, yeah.
He dribbles with one and pushes off with the other. He basically commits 5 offensive fouls every time he possesses the ball, right? Steph does that to a degree. He's not as big a guy. I mean, Kevin Durant seems more obvious, but all these guys, Anthony Edwards, watch him play. Dribble with one, push off with the other. And I'm like, this was an offensive foul every single time you did it in the physical 90s, right? The physical 90s, 80s, and 90s. You did not allow the offensive player to just push off, and now it's part of the game. Apparently, when you learn how to dribble, you also learn how to push off with your offhand. That's just part of the game.
I think it's a general trend across a lot of sports of deference to the offense.
Yeah.
That I think that maybe some sports leagues, no, I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong because the numbers keep increasing for all of the leagues in terms of viewership and all that stuff.
It's and I'm gonna my listeners are gonna hate. Actually, my listeners are not gonna hate this because my listeners are comprised of sophisticated sports fans, right? But I think it's a result of an overall dumbification of the consuming fan, right? Because I see this in all sports, basketball, football. When I go to these sports bars and I'm watching these games, you're not hearing any kind of a critical play analysis. All you hear is, ooh, get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. Yeah. Ooh, go, 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 go. Yeah. Oh, that was somebody makes a terrible, terrible technical decision, but ends up succeeding. And they're like, yeah, great play. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was a great result. It was not a great play. And nobody understands that. That's all you see is it's fans wanting to see a what they perceive as excellent plays, but largely it's plays that end up in good explosive offensive plays, offensive results. And that average fan who now doesn't understand the sport, doesn't understand the technical aspects of it, wants to feel like they understand. So it's the overall dumbification of the sport to allow for the dumbed down fandom.
Well, let's use that as the transition into the NFL. Right?
Yeah.
And now, speaking of mourning, your audience knows you probably have been dressed all in black since last Sunday.
Well, I've got my black Josh Allen jersey still, but there's a reason for it. As the audience can see on my live feed, I'm still wearing my Josh Allen jersey. So, but yes, I've been in mourning for almost 7 full days now.
Pistol formation here.
Yeah, no, so I'll let you start. How do you want to talk about that game?
All right. So look, first and foremost, I'm going to work backwards. I don't want to come across as a conspiracy theorist. So what I'm going to tackle is the most obvious thing. The Buffalo Bills on defense with a minute and 50 some seconds. It was just under the 2-minute warning. At the 50-yard line, at the 40-yard line, wherever they were, I think it was around the 50, just on their side. They were on defense. Kansas City had the ball. They had all 3 of their timeouts. The Buffalo Bills could have made 3 stops and gotten the ball back. They didn't. But it's more than that, right? It's not that they were that the Kansas City Chiefs ran the ball 3 times and Buffalo was unable to stop it. The Kansas City Chiefs went and took it twice. They converted a first down by making unconventional plays. And I say unconventional because generally 99% of the time in that situation, no matter who the team is, maybe the Belichick Patriots of the early 2010s, maybe they would have done that. I think they would have done that at least once, maybe not twice. But 99% of the teams would have run the ball 3 times and given the ball back. But the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid did not. Andy Reid made those calls to pass plays and the trick plays and all that. And Mahomes executed and went and took those first downs. So kudos on that minute 50 to the Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes and Andy Reid for winning the game, taking the game by the horns, making the plays to take it instead of leaving the game in the opposition's hands. Kudos to them. They won the game. I'm not a game denier. I'm not going to say, I'll say the better team did not win. The better team did not win. But in that moment, in that minute 50, Kansas City was the better team because the coach made gutsy, unconventional calls and the quarterback went and executed. And as far as I remember, I think outside of a slight hold by Kansas City on one of those plays, but I mean, that's a slight hold is nothing compared to everything else that went on in that game, right? So Kansas City went and took it. They for that minute 50, they deserve the victory, and congratulations to them. And I'm going to be pulling for them. We'll talk about that in a little bit because we do have a break coming up. But that's what I want to start the conversation with. Now, is it all kittens and rainbows? Absolutely not. I've got a lot of thoughts. I've got a lot of apprehension about the game, about the sport, about the league, all of that, that we will absolutely be getting into when we come back from this break. What is happening here? Sorry about that. Break kicked in a little early. We are at break time. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back, and then we'll delve more into my thoughts in what led up to that last minute 50. And then, of course, Shep, I want to hear your thoughts because, one, again, I think your analytical skills and mind gets us deeper into the plays, and not to mention my, I think my fanhood sometimes can get in the way of serious analysis. So I need you to keep me honest there. But here comes a break. You're going to be right back in about 3 or 4 minutes, right here on Radio Azad with Sports Spotlight with your host Rizwan and Shep on the radio. Be right back.
This is Radio Azad, where your voice matters. Streaming in Dallas, Fort Worth, and all around the world.
आप सुन रहे हैं रेडियो आजाद, हम सफर, हम ज़ाद, रेडियो आजाद.
Download the free Radio Azad app on the App Store or Google Play to listen worldwide.
Reached a plateau in your weight loss journey? Ever feel like you've tried every so-called healthy diet only to find yourself gaining more weight? Do you know you can actually tap into your body so that it loses the weight for you without excessive exercising or fad diets? Hi, I'm Dr. Nilofer Basaria, and I can help you in your health and weight loss journey to lose excess physical and stress weight and keep it off without medications and calorie counting. Call or text at 469-645-8681. Once again, that number is 469-645-8681 for a complimentary consultation, or you can visit us at drbasaria.com. That is drbasaria.com.
Elegance Perfume and Boutique carries the hottest trends for the whole family at unbeatable prices. Elegance Perfume and Boutique has a huge variety of Pakistani and Indian outfits, including branded lawn suits, casuals, semi-formals, formals, bridals, purses, shoes, bridal jewelry, bangles, and even your favorite perfume.
Their beautiful and spacious boutique is located at 820 South MacArthur Boulevard, Suite 106 in Coppell. For more information, please visit the Elegance Perfume and Boutique page on Facebook or call 817-896-1085.
Hey, bro, you want to pick up some wings tonight from Hot Pizza?
Man, are you for real? Hot Pizza? You read my mind. I'm craving their chicken tikka pizza and cheesy achari bread.
Bro, that pizza is cheesy and that cheesy bread is lit. Let's pick up your buddy Ashish. I know he'll love their hot veggie sandwiches.
Man, a fusion Desi halal pizza joint with a fresh food lineup like that? I'm definitely down with the Hot Pizza Wave.
Hot Pizza is located at 17194 Preston Road, Suite 102, Dallas. Takeout and delivery are available. Order online at hotpizzausa.menufy.com or call them at 469-399-1461. Hot Pizza is a hit pizza.
Great news for Jimmy's restaurant and catering customers. Considering the high volume of customers and fans that they are blessed with, Ramadan iftaris at Jimmy's will be by reservations only. Jimmy's restaurant and catering has an array of great menu items as well as surprise delicacies. So book now for a fantastic iftar experience for any day during Ramadan for you, your family, and your friends by calling 469-298-3611.
मेरे ख्यालों में छाई है एक उल्फी मतवाली सी, नाजुक सी और ठंडी सी, मीठी और निराली सी, रहती है वो पास कहीं फ्रीजर के खाने में कहीं। कोको कोरिनास, कोको कोरिनास, कोको कोरिनास, कोको कोरिनास।
Did you know Karina's can also cater? Make your next event or special occasion a big hit with Karina's Kulfi. Call 972-888-9990 or email info@karinas.com for information. Karina's, it's ice cream elevated.
Coco Corinas, Coco Corinas.
Dallas, get ready to experience the trunk show of the year. Luminous brings you over 40 of the most prestigious international fashion houses from Pakistan and India together for an unforgettable multi-designer exhibition. Don't miss your chance to shop exclusive collections from top names like the Pink Tree Company, Safety Pins, Zeb & Zishan, Jean, Avigna Fine Jewelry, Second Skin, and more. Saturday, February 22nd, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Verona Villa, 6591 Dallas Parkway, Frisco. For sponsorships or vendor inquiries, please contact Luminous at 973-255-0594. This is a fashion event you can't afford to miss.
Are you planning to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in DFW?
Are you contemplating who would be your best choice for the realtors who are competent? Then Ambreen Khan and Pat O'Reilly of the O'Reilly Home Team at Keller Williams are the answers to your real estate questions.
Together, they have over 21 years of real estate business experience, and they can guide and navigate you through all your real estate needs.
So pick up the phone and call 202-340-5450 to get one step closer to your dream home. For more information, visit O'ReillyHometeam.net or follow us on Facebook O'Reilly Home Team.
Radio Azad. कह लो जो कहना है, सुन लो जो सुनना है। कह लो जो कहना है, सुन लो जो सुनना है। हम हैं आजाद, तुम हो आजाद। जोड़ो दिल से दिल मिलाओ हाथ से हाथ। कहो हम सफर हमजाद। रेडियो आजाद, रेडियो आजाद, रेडियो आजाद।
Want to listen to your favorite station? Download the Radio Azad app today, available for iPhones and Android.
They start from the Giants' 24. Deshaun Watson into the end zone. Touchdown on the first play from scrimmage, Amari Cooper. Been the guy today.
Yes, welcome back to the Sports Spotlight, and that was very, very intentional. I wanted to start with a highlight of a game between the Giants and the Browns, the two abysmal franchises, because that's where I sit right now with the sport, with the league. Welcome back, Chef. So let's finish off the conversation. As I said, kudos to Andy Reid, kudos to Patrick Mahomes for execution, kudos to
those were great play calls.
Yeah,
those two passes were great play calls.
They were, and look, one thing I do want to, I'm a reasonable. I'm not as much of a fanatic fan as one might think. I'm a reasonable person. It is easy to say throughout the game, not just in those 2 minutes, in that minute 50, throughout the game, there wasn't, we can get into the argument who was the better quarterback. I'm going to be on the Josh Allen side in that game. I think Josh Allen was the better quarterback. We can have discussions on a lot of things, but there is no discussion who was the better coach, the better head coach.
Oh, it's Andy Reid.
It's Andy Reid by a mile, right? I think McDermott absolutely got out coached. I think McDermott, maybe the moment got to him. I think that 2-point conversion on which, by the way, I don't know if you've heard, Josh Allen broke his throwing hand on that two-point conversion that he failed on. Broke his throwing hand. He's having surgery or going to have surgery on it pretty soon. He finished the game. That was in the first half. He finished the game with a broken throwing hand. It's insane. And, so I said I was going to work backwards. So let's talk about right before that minute 50 when they gave the ball back to Kansas City on that fourth down call. So kudos to Spags, right? Again, one of the greatest at that position, at the defensive coordinator, as far as play calling is concerned. And he dialed up that left side blitz and the look, right? He basically showed 8 coming. And,
man, but that should have been a catch.
Well, no. I'm getting to it. You're absolutely right. It should have been a catch. But kudos to Spags making a great call, right? 2 unblocked defenders coming right to Josh Allen, to the side that he was going to roll to. And what does Josh Allen do? With a broken throwing hand, off his back foot, with 2 defenders in his face, on a frozen rope. Oh, well, maybe not a frozen rope, but he put the ball in the hands of Dalton Kincaid. I cannot.
Shep, not quite in the hands, but he made it a very catchable.
He made a catchable in the middle of 5 defenders. 5 defenders, Shep. The ball was exactly where his player could catch. Yes, it was difficult. He needed his receiver to make that cutback, change momentum, and come back for it. But the accuracy on that throw, and now since I found out he had a broken hand, and I'm sure it was a bone, like obviously his hand was functional. So, but point is, I'm sure it was more painful than limiting. But regardless, for him in that situation to make that throw, I don't know if there's a quarterback in the NFL who can make that throw under those conditions. Your thoughts?
So, I think Allen's got the best arm and body to make that throw. If there's another quarterback that I trust to make something out of that situation, it's probably Mahomes, because of the unusual ways he can contort himself to make throws. Mm-hmm. But Allen, given the complete lack of protection he had on that play, where everything broke down, and he's running for his life in half a second. He knew where the receiver was going to be. He threw it and gave his guy a chance. So if I'm a Bills fan, that play is not, even though I think the catch should have been made, that play is not the thing where my ire is focused.
Yep.
Right? My ire is focused, if I'm focusing inward on the Bills, it's a couple of the Josh Allen design run calls to include that 2-point conversion. Plus, why didn't Oh, Cook. Yeah, why didn't Cook get the ball more often, considering how well he was running?
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's the general roster management question of like why you put yourself in a position where if one cornerback goes out, you have to put in somebody who fundamentally can't cover anybody in zone, which is what the Bills run.
Yep.
Okay. That's like if I'm turning my guns inward, that's it. If I'm turning my guns outward, they're focused entirely on two plays, right? And one is that catch by Xavier Worthy, which was not a catch.
Not a catch.
And the other is the spot, which was the poor spot, right? So the first thing I would say is that when I watched it live, I was kind of playing with my girls, and I was like, oh, okay, man, what a tremendous catch. Unlucky for the Bills.
All right.
Watching
Hey,
the replays,
Shep, I'm going to warn you. So now you're the analyst. I already had my jersey. I've got my Bills hat on. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So like when I first watched it, I was like, oh, what a great catch. That's unlucky for the Bills. But then I watched the replay. I was like, oh man, that's an incomplete pass. There's no other conclusion that I can reasonably support other than that's an incomplete pass. Like I just can't. I don't understand how you can call that anything other than an incomplete pass. Now, did the Bills still have an opportunity to stop that? Yeah, they did. They could have made them, yada, yada, yada. However, that was an awful call. I can't.
Okay.
And I'm not a KC hater. It's just an awful call.
It is an awful call. But here's where the conspiracy side of things, the questionable side of things comes in. They made that call, right? Made the call. It's terrible. They run the next play. McDermott throws his flag right at the ref. He disregards it. The play runs. Pacheco gets stuffed for a 2 or 3 yard loss. They blow the whistle, plays over, and then a ref comes over and says, hey, wait. There was no play. Buffalo challenged it.
Well, that can be. So that's the thing where you would want more transparency from the NFL. Like,
yep, didn't question it, didn't come back. And Shep, come on, you and I have consumed enough football. We've seen that where the coach throws the challenge flag at the last second, the play snaps, and the ref runs in and blows the whistle. Nope, no play. Right? We've seen that. That's not what happened. That is not at all what happened.
You're right. I think that most likely happened is they had a failure in communication. Don't mistake bias for incompetence. But man, it was an important one there, right?
Okay.
But I think that the thing is, you said you were going to talk later on about like fixes to the NFL system.
Yeah.
I think one thing they've got to add is like some kind of transparency and make officials explain things to the press after games. Like, hey, what were we thinking here? Like, why this? Why not this?
Yep. And there hasn't been that explanation. So hold on, let me build my case now as a fan, right? So they do that. As far as if I'm that, as I was saying, if I'm that dumb fan, I'm thinking, oh, they made a bad call, shouldn't have been a catch. We tried challenging it. They said, no, I'm going to ignore your challenge flag. They ran the play. They lose. It's a negative play. So now they say, well, we're going to allow that challenge now. And then they review this challenge, review the play, which was obviously not a catch, and say, you know what? It's still a catch. So now there has been, 3 benefits to Kansas City on that same one play, right? Now, I want to go slightly further back. We were talking about that catch, the awesome throw that Josh Allen makes under pressure. Watch the end of that play. He throws the ball. Yes, the defender is coming right at him. The ball leaves his hand, and the defender continues. The defender does not pull up. The defender continues. And while he did not drive Josh Allen into the ground, he hits him, makes him flop backwards and slam into the ground. No flag there. Now think about those 2 personal foul calls on Mahomes the week before, right? No flag on that play. Go back and watch those 3 plays, the 2 times that Mahomes got the call and the 1 time Josh Allen did not get the call on that one play, and tell me which of the 3 is the most violent hit against the quarterback. All right.
So here's the thing. From a rules perspective, the question about what is the most violent hit is not the question. The question is which hits were legal or illegal under the way the rules are written, right? And some of the commentary and some of the videos I've seen about those 2 Mahomes calls basically focused on the genius of Mahomes putting himself in position to not get hit hard and still draw the penalty because of the way the rules are written. And Allen, but he didn't have time to do that, right? In that one play, so it's not like a blame Allen thing. Just got hit in a football play, whereas the way the rules are written bias themselves towards the way Mahomes drew the penalty. Now then, as a thinking adult who plays games that require interpretation, right, and judgments, like my nerdy hobby is I'm a dungeon master for D&D, right? So there's all sorts of things where I've got to make interpretations about, like, well, here's what the rules say, but here's perhaps the context, which may mean that this should be allowed or not allowed. Okay, officials have to be a little bit smarter on their judgment calls, and that's where they have to explain things. All right. And then maybe the rules need to be written in a way that gives them more leeway to make certain things, though I'm nervous about opening that can of worms. But I don't think that Allen was roughed, even though I also don't think Mahomes was roughed in those 2 other plays, but I know why they were called the way that they were.
All right.
I just don't particularly like it. I don't have a good explanation other than probable incompetence on the communication for the timing of the replay on the catch. And I can offer even less of an explanation as to how you watch that replay and call it a catch.
Okay. Now, agree. You and I are in total agreement. Let's go back to that 4th and 5 play. Okay.
All right.
The roughing call doesn't get made. Did you know there was a flag, though?
Yeah,
right
and
at
there
the
was
snap.
never any explanation for what that was.
Right at the snap, they toss a flag. It's a 4th and 5 play. Right at the snap, they toss a flag. The head referee picks it up once it falls incomplete. So again, it's very easy to see when somebody says, oh, they tossed a flag in case the play is complete. But since it was incomplete, they said, you know what? No flag. Because, and again, it's the lack of explanation and addressing. And that, to me, as a thinking fan, is infuriating. Infuriating, right? You don't feel that you have an obligation to explain to me when the TV broadcast said there was a flag, the radio broadcast said there was a flag. Somebody says there isn't any video, but somebody said they saw the flag, and then the head referee, right after the incomplete, he walks over and picks it up. That is infuriating that they don't even want to address that. We thought it was offsides and it wasn't, so we've picked it up, right?
I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna be wholly unsatisfactory. That actually appears to have been a mistake by the broadcast. So they have spotters on the broadcast, right? Mm-hmm. That look to see if there's a flag to clue the announcers who may or may not see the flag in the field, right?
Yeah.
And the flag graphic popped on the screen, and everybody sees that, but Nance cleared things up saying no flag, and it looks like one of the spotters made a mistake, put the graphic up, but no one saw a flag. I haven't seen a picture of a flag on the field.
No, there isn't. There isn't. But
and so
at the same time, simultaneously, the TV broadcast and a unrelated radio broadcast,
yes,
they were both mistaken. Are they using the same spotter?
Yes. So the Westwood One radio call said that there was a flag based on the bottom of the CBS feed. So they were both triggered like this. So that's wholly unsatisfying as a Buffalo fan. But it speaks to, like, hey, when unintentional mistakes happen, and sometimes the unintentional mistakes happen in the same direction a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that's what it ultimately comes down to, because in a vacuum, that's no big deal. Okay, somebody was mistaken, there was a flag, and there wasn't. In a vacuum, it's no big deal. But man, so, in a very masochistic way, I've watched a lot of tape of that game over the past week. And it's actually those bad calls and bad spots. Okay, so first, for our listeners, what did I say right before the game? What did I say was going to happen? The results of the game based upon unfavorable calls going, one-sided favorable calls. What did I say? If they call the game absolutely fairly, there's nothing questionable at all, Buffalo wins by 2 touchdowns. If there are 1 to 3 questionable calls that go that lean Kansas City, it's a touchdown game, but I think Buffalo wins. If it's 4+, Kansas City wins by a field goal or whatever. I think my final prediction was 30-27. I think I said if it's 4+, Kansas City wins 30-27. We ended up at 32-29 Kansas City with, in my opinion, there was so much egregiousness in the one-sided play calling that we're focused on these 2 or 3 really bad things. Let's talk about the bad spot. Let's talk about Josh Allen's bad spot, right? On the 4th and 1.
And that was a big one.
It was huge. You're up 22-21. That conversion gets you a field goal. You could possibly drive and get a touchdown. The offense was clicking, right? It's huge. It is absolutely monstrous. Was it a bad offensive call? Yes, I think it was. Right? I think it was. But that should not, making the wrong, it kind of runs against what I was saying earlier. In a game where every play matters, making the wrong call but getting the right results should not be held against you. And in this case, it was. Should he have run that play that way? No. I think I've seen them run the tush push almost just like Philadelphia, and they did not. The broadcasters kept calling it a tush push, but it was quarterback sneaks. I didn't see a single tush push in that game with Josh Allen. They were quarterback sneaks. Even the 2-pointer where he broke his hand, he literally takes the ball and then slides strafes to the left to find that hole to try to get through. But kudos to Kansas City defense. They plugged the hole really well. If they had done a tush push, that was a successful 2-point conversion. If they had done a tush push on that 4th and 1, I think they gain 1 to 2 yards, and there isn't a question. So it was a bad call, but it is clear. And again, maybe that's my fanhood getting in the way. It is clear that he had the line. You see where the marker is down the line. It's right.
And so that's where the wording of the replay stuff, I think, needs to be fixed, where it says clear and obvious, right? Mm-hmm. Or whatever I can't remember the precise wording, but basically it says it has to be obvious.
Yep.
Right, that you overturn it. And was it obvious that the spot in the field was called wrong? No. Do I think it showed that it was wrong? Yes. By the letter of the rule, do they have to overturn it? No. Should they have looked at him and been like, man, the guy got the first down, and said, yeah. That's
he's holding it at his chest. He's not holding it on his right hip, right? They were like, whoa, we could see the ball.
They make some noise about camera angle. And this is where that transparency thing comes in again. They screwed up the call on the field, I think.
Yeah.
And then they further messed up how they communicate why they didn't overturn the call on the field. And then, of course, the Chiefs come back down and they take advantage of it, and they do what great teams do. You give them an advantage, and they make you pay.
Yep. Now,
whoever they are,
Yeah. So, Shep, you mentioned language. So there is when it comes to replays, there is a clear delineation of language, right? When you do a replay review of a play, you come back, and yes, it has to be clear and obvious to overturn it. So if there is, you come back and say the call has been overturned.
It's opposed to confirmed.
If they don't, they come back and say the ruling on the field has been confirmed. Or if there's not clear and obvious, then you say the call on the field stands. Do you know what the ref said?
My leagues, by the way. The NFL language is indisputable visual evidence. The Premier League is clear and obvious.
Yes.
Okay.
So do you know what the ref said? Do you know what the ref said?
Did he say confirmed?
Confirmed. He said the call on the field is confirmed. The runner did not gain the line of did not reach the line of gain or whatever. The ruling on the field is confirmed. Do you know what they said after not allowing us to review the interception / catch, and then allowing it after Kansas City gets stuffed? They review it. They come back. They said the ruling is confirmed. They didn't say it stands. They said confirmed.
Folks, this is how the supervillain origin story begins.
I mean, there's just, and again, in a vacuum, one of these things happening is understandable. But this many, so people talk about 2 bad calls. It wasn't 2 bad calls. It was a conglomeration of bad call after bad call. Now, let's go back to the first half when James Cook was running. By the way, phenomenal touchdown, phenomenal individual effort. Play. I don't know.
Effort. That was a great effort, great athleticism, great desire, all those things.
Awareness of the body control. I mean, it was one of the best touchdowns by a running back, individual effort by a running back on a touchdown I've seen. Awesome job by James Cook. And he absolutely has, again, I talked about this last week, right? He was supposed to be this gadget guy. He was supposed to be this split the backfield guy. He was supposed to be Dalvin Cook's younger brother. He was never supposed to become a lead back.
He's great. I mean, he's been great. He's been a great pickup, great draft by the Bills.
Yep, absolutely. So 3 separate times, once by James Cook, once by Amari Cooper, and I think the third one was Dalton Knox in the first half. The Buffalo Bills gained a first down. The broadcast called it a first down. There was a run I think it was in the first quarter. James Cook runs, and they said he burst through the defense for 11 yards. That's a first down, Buffalo Bills. Jim, wait, they're saying that wasn't 11 yards. He's going to be 1 yard shy. 3rd and 1, Buffalo Bills. They took 2 yards off of his run. 2 yards. And it wasn't like his foot was down or whatever. They just moved the ball and no explanation.
So we actually have the technology now to fix this crap. Sorry, I shouldn't use it. But they've got to figure out how to spot footballs. And it wasn't just the Bills. I thought there were some bad spots that went against Kansas City during the game, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tweeted at the NFL and Topgolf to say, hey, y'all two need to get together. If Topgolf knows exactly where every one of the 10,000 golf balls being hit is, just give a few of your chips to the NFL for important games.
I think they got to fix this. I mean, like the NFL basically prints money without causing inflation.
Yeah.
Right. And this is one of those where they use the technology to help the officials, because I thought about this last weekend, and it didn't have anything to do with football, but football, right?
Yeah.
Where I love high def TV. Okay. And I sometimes watch highlights from back in the day when we had standard def, right? And you couldn't see as well and all that stuff.
Yep.
High def has made the viewing experience for sports in particular amazing. Okay. However, that and all the camera angles have highlighted just how many things the officials on the field cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I don't want to become overly, it's the wrong term, but overly rules-based and litigious about, you could call holding in every play. You'd have to really train technology to figure out how to call, like, I guess, egregious holding versus letter of the law holding. Okay. But you got to get the ball spotting right at least. Okay. And the reason why I was thinking about it was just because of how many things you can see mistakes made by, or how many mistakes you can see made by referees and officials across sports now.
Mm-hmm.
And the spotting of the ball is one of them. Like I think back to a Mississippi State game versus Auburn over 10 years ago now. We're playing at Auburn, and they came out in it was a fourth down play. Auburn didn't make it. It was short. The chain showed he was short, and the officials still gave the first down signal. Auburn went on to win the game by very small margins. They scored in that drive later. I was like, maybe if they had ball spotting technology, they wouldn't have needed those chains that still showed that he didn't make the first down. And that's something that the football has to get right. It's so important. You have 10 yards. You have 4 plays to get 10 yards. And if you don't make it, people always say take it out of the ref's hands. But, the other team plays too. Like, these are the best football players in the world. When you get screwed by the officials, it just is awful. It is hard to take as an athlete and as a fan, even when you know that mistakes are part of the game. You still think, you do go, hey, if there's things out there that can eliminate this type of mistake that just screwed me, why don't we implement that? And that's the thing that I think we got to ask Goodell about. Why aren't you trying to do this?
Because that makes it a little bit more difficult to fix the calls.
Well, see, that's the thing. Here's where I don't believe in fixing, because the NFL could play a game at 2:30 in the morning on Wednesday during the week, and it would still get better ratings than any other sport.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, so if they had, I know people always talk about big market teams or big player teams or whatever, but if they had Minnesota with Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl against the Jacksonville Jaguars, it would not lose a single viewer as a result. Yeah. Those are two small markets. It's the Super Bowl. Like, everybody around the world watches the Super Bowl, even if we no longer watch because of the commercials, because apparently they've decided to stream commercials beforehand, which I hate. But the NFL is not going to do something like that, because they don't. If a league gets caught tampering and actually screwing with the results on purpose, no one will watch that league anymore. It would be a huge, if the league does it, as opposed to like people within the league tampering because of gambling or whatever. You can recover from that as long as it's not the league directing it. If the league directs it, man, you got problems.
It's the WWE.
Yeah, and which I don't get me started on
which
how
still has
you use the term dumbification.
Yes,
I'd use the term. You know what? I'm sure people like wrestling. I'm sure many fine people like wrestling. I'm not going to talk about it.
Yes. All right. We are a little overdue for a break. Let's take that real quick. Come back. Let's wrap this up. Let's talk about. There was another championship game that took place. Let's dive into that before we wrap up for the day. You've been listening to the Sports Spotlight with your host Rizwan and Shep. Be right back.
You are listening to Radio Azad, where your voice matters. Entertain, inform, inspire.
Download the free Radio Azad app on the App Store or Google Play to listen worldwide.
ए सर्किट, ये आजकल होटल गैस स्टेशन वाले सुपारी का बहुत लफड़ा कर रहे ले।
क्या भाई, आपको मालूम है? एक तो बिजनेस ऊपर नीचे, दूसरा इंश्योरेंस का रेट एकदम ऊपर।
अरे तो बोलना इसको अपना अमीन चगानी को कॉल करने का।
आइला, ये अमीन चगानी वो ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल वाला।
हाँ भाई को सब मालूम है, प्रॉपर्टी लायबिलिटी और वो बोले तो छतरी इंश्योरेंस।
छतरी भाई अम्ब्रेला इंश्योरेंस।
हाँ भाई मामू, टाउन में सबसे बेस्ट रेट है। फिर बोले तो होटल हो या गैस स्टेशन, रेस्टोरेंट हो या स्ट्रिप सेंटर। और हाँ, बोलना भाई ने बोला है कॉल करने का।
भाई ने बोला है तो फिर कॉल करने का। क्या नंबर ले? 469-317-9400। क्या समझा?
Ladies, are you ready for the ultimate girls' night out party? Radio Azad presents the most spectacular gala Galentine's Bash of 2025, Thursday, February 6th, 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. at Cavalli in Dallas. Dress in your most fabulous kaftan and enjoy a delicious dinner, incredible prizes, great music by DJ Vish, and make unforgettable memories with new and old friends. Hurry, as space is limited and tickets are going very quickly, so grab yours now at raladies2025.eventbrite.com or call Aisha at 817-897-2217. Don't miss this Galentine party of the year.
Think you can handle the heat? Come to the port of Peri Peri and prove it. Warning. Side effects may include an uncontrollable craving for flame-grilled chicken and occasional tears of joy. Or, well, just tears. Our signature Peri Peri chicken is marinated, flame-grilled, and absolutely packed with flavor. From mild to wild, we've got the heat level to match your inner spice warrior. Think you're up for it? Challenge accepted. Visit us at one of our locations in Irving or Plano. Just look for the people fanning their mouths and ordering seconds. At the port of Peri Peri, it's the heat that can't be beat.
Hello, it's me, the Royal Banquet Hall in Irving. I know you folks in Dallas-Fort Worth are always looking for a party venue, and now you have me. Come on in, take a look around. Such a beautiful ambience, right? We have all the amenities to accommodate your get-togethers, birthdays, graduation parties, mendies, sangeets, weddings, fundraisers, whatever you need. We will take care of it all to create a memorable and stress-free event for you. We can easily accommodate 70 to 120 of your besties in our space. The Royal Banquet is located at 1800 Marketplace Boulevard, Irving. Check us out at theroyalbanquets.com or give us a ring at 469-642-5110. The Royal Banquet, where every event is a royal experience.
Are you dealing with legal issues related to immigration, wills, divorce, or car accidents? Let the experienced attorneys at Suleiman Amaidas Rezai Law Firm help you. Whether obtaining a visa or green card, creating a trust or will in accordance to your faith, a quick or difficult divorce, or being compensated for a car accident, call us today to schedule a consultation at 469-242-2922.
I am a doctor.
I'm a teacher.
I am a business owner.
I am a mother and I am a wife.
Anyone can be a victim of domestic violence. 1 in every 4 women will experience domestic violence in her lifetime. Domestic violence can include behaviors or threats that frighten, injure, or manipulate someone, and victims sometimes hide their abuse because of fear or shame.
Texas Muslim Women's Foundation offers a safe refuge for victims. We welcome individuals of all backgrounds, and our culturally sensitive services are free of charge. We provide a 24-hour emergency hotline and shelter, counseling services, legal services, and case management.
Tap the app and listen to your favorite station, Radio Azad, anytime, anywhere.
On first down, Jahmyr Gibbs with an opening, and Gibbs with great speed down the sideline. Jahmyr Gibbs, one man to beat. He'll beat him. Touchdown.
Yeah, speaking of disappointments, how are the folks in Detroit feeling this season?
Well, they had so many injuries, man. I think they had to know that the defense wasn't going to be able to hold up in the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know too many Detroit fans because that's a small group that's had to be loyal to a very painful organism over the years. Okay.
Yep.
So I don't know. They probably are disappointed, but they're not like bitter about just because of the injuries, right?
It is an exciting offense, though. Absolutely.
Well, we'll see if it is next year.
Oh, because of Ben Johnson. I was like, they're not losing anyone, but yeah, I guess they're losing. They've lost their offensive coordinator.
They lost the conductor.
Yep. We'll see. I guess this is the make or break for Jared Goff, right? Was it Ben Johnson or is Goff actually as fixed as everyone seems to think he is? It's going to be. I always like an underdog, and I like how they've turned things around. I've always liked them with Stafford, with Calvin. even going all the way back to the Barry Sanders days, right? They were the lovable losers. So it's nice to see them um, actually be a contender. But we'll see. We'll see how they stand up, having lost Ben Johnson. All right. Well, you are back with the Sports Spotlight. Yes, I feel very flat because I've been focusing on everything that went wrong for the Buffalo Bills. And boy, there was a long list of things. And, Shep, while we were off the air, you made a very good point that there were things that went wrong for Kansas City Chiefs as well. I felt that there was more stuff that went wrong for the Buffalo Bills, and had it been a bit more even, maybe the result is different. Actually, I firmly believe that the result would have been different. One thing I did not get to, I do want to get to. So that fourth down play, the terrible spot for Josh Allen not getting the first down. Absolutely, we've talked that ad nauseum. But it's a play that should have never happened. It should have never come down to it because of the play right before. Dalton Kincaid caught that ball on the third and I think it was a 3rd and 6 play, whatever, a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and 6. He catches this little screen, a kind of a swing pass to the tight end, and he speeds forward, gets hit by a couple of defenders. He goes airborne and lands. That same line that they didn't give to Josh Allen, he lands beyond it. And then and again, Tony Romo said he dives forward for a first down. Replays show his knee never touched. He kind of went airborne, flew forward, got hit by 2 defenders, and landed right on the line with the nose of the football possibly just an inch ahead of the yard line.
I thought his knee was down.
Have you seen the close replay? I've actually seen it. It is not. It looks like it's down, but it's not. So I can see that again in a vacuum. I can see that bad call happening, right?
Well, yeah, we're just talking about it all.
It's the conglomeration of bad call after bad call after bad call, giving advantage to one team, man. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot, but ultimately, I want to wrap things up by kind of going back to what I said at the beginning, right? And actually add in something you've said during the conversation. So kudos to Andy Reid and Mahomes, right? You got to play the cards you're dealt. Whoever is making the bad calls doesn't matter. Ultimately, at the end, when it came down to it, they had the ball, and had they been conservative, the ball goes back to the Buffalo Bills, and then who knows? The conspiracy tinfoil Buffalo Bills mafia crazy fan in me wants to say they knew exactly it wouldn't matter. Even if they had gone 3 runs and give the ball back, they knew that the refs would protect them. But obviously that's not the case, because if that were the case, they would have gone 3 runs, 3 timeouts, give the ball back to the Buffalo Bills with a minute. But they didn't. They went and took the game. They grabbed the ball,
made the calls, and they made the plays. And so, and we haven't even talked about the other game, okay? So there's a problem for the Chiefs next Sunday, and that problem is the Philadelphia Eagles offensive and defensive lines.
All right. Wait. For my I told you we are live broadcasting. So for those fans, I do, before we jump into that. So I've been wearing my Josh Allen jersey this whole time. But as you know, as most people know, most of our listeners know, my second favorite team is, with all that, I know the last hour and a half may not have seemed like it, but my second favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs. So I am now taking off my Josh Allen jersey.
And it's intercepted.
Here we go. My Kansas City t-shirt underneath. I am now back to being a Chiefs fan now that the Buffalo Bills are out of the equation. All right, go ahead. Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs playing in the Super Bowl next week.
So if you're a Kansas City fan, you got to be super nervous about how well the Bills, with an offensive line that is good but not great, ran the ball against you. Mm-hmm. That Philadelphia offensive line is not good. They are great.
Yeah, it's 5 bulldozers.
They are creating holes that you could drive a train through. Okay. I mean, sometimes perhaps even literally with old skinny engines.
Yeah,
like
that's not to diminish what Saquon is doing, but
I mean, Saquon's amazing, but if you give that man that kind of space, you're going to see what you're seeing, and it is frightening to watch as someone who does not like the Eagles franchise, because they're the ones that brought Michael Vick back when he should never have been able to play football again because of what he did. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's the kind of the moral principle I have on that most people don't care about. But so I'm never going to pull for the Eagles. But from an unbiased perspective, they're better among the offensive and defensive lines. And the only question mark I have for the Eagles is, can Jalen Hurts hit wide open players when the Chiefs overcommit to the run? If yes, the Eagles will be your Super Bowl champions. If no, it'll be a close game.
Yeah. I mean, so this is the litmus test, right? I think it's going to be interesting to see if how the favorable, questionable, close calls lean. Are they evenly distributed, or do they lean?
Well, I mean, look, if Hurts can hit those plays, it's not going to matter. They're going to win anyways.
So, worst case scenario, now as a Chiefs fan, I think worst case scenario, I can see the Eagles, maybe not to the degree that they did to the Washington Commanders, but I can see them do the same thing to Kansas City. I can see them running away with the game.
Look, Chris Jones is amazing, right? Mm-hmm. Mississippi State product, drafted in the second round, was held all through his time in college, never got holding penalties called against the other team, right?
The best D lineman in the game right now.
He's amazing. However, the Chiefs only have one Chris Jones.
Yep.
All right. And I don't think the rest of that line can hold up against so sometimes I get overly deterministic in my analysis and I have to pull back, but I look and I just don't see how Kansas City is going to win if Hurts can hit any kind of plays that make them respect the pass at all.
Unless the refs help.
You're going to have to get a lot of help, because if he's hitting those passes, like you're going to need a lot of help.
I mean, with AJ Brown, with Devontae Smith out there, and Goddard's back, and now Calcaterra.
They have what have we been saying for weeks, though? The Philadelphia's got the best roster in the NFL.
Most talented roster. Offense, defense.
And Arsenal just went up 3-1 in Manchester City. Take that, Pep Guardiola, and all your ill-gotten money.
All right. I hope they can pull that off. But roster. Yes, absolutely. I mean, hands down, a stronger roster than even the Kansas City Chiefs. Except for the quarterback position, the head coach position,
that's a big
absolutely.
Except for. Yeah. Full disclosure, right?
Yep. And the tight end position. Like those three things, absolutely lean Kansas City's way. But I think as strong as the KC defense has been, their defensive secondary has been, I think Philadelphia is better. And then they get better pressure with their front seven.
Yeah, they do, and they get better pressure with their defensive line. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the Chiefs' offensive line is that good.
It's not.
I really don't. I mean Taylor is he's a liability on every play. Besides the fact that he's mastered the art of committing false starts without getting called.
Yep.
I just look. I'm going to watch the game because it's the last football game till August, and I need help in that regard.
We're all football junkies. We need that last fix.
Yeah. But I really think, and I want Kansas City to win. Okay, full disclosure, my bias is I would prefer to see the Chiefs win their third straight than see Philly ever win one again. Right? But man, Philly's just got a better team. And if Jalen Hurts doesn't screw it up, all right, then the Eagles will be your Super Bowl champions. Because if Spagnuolo can confuse Hurts and maybe get in his head and then get in the play calling in the head of the play callers for the Eagles and how they have the flow of the game, then okay, I can see a path for victory through KC. It's not hard to see a path to victory, right? I think you'd agree with me. You've got Mahomes. He makes plays. Andy Reid's one of the best play callers of all time. Spags is a great defensive coordinator, maybe not a great head coach, as we've seen, but he's a great defensive coordinator, right?
Yep.
And he calls great games. And so I could see him come up with something. They got 2 weeks. We'll see. But like all other things being equal, I think the Eagles they have better players. They have a system that works for them. I think they're going to win.
And for all of our lives, what do we know when it comes to football? What wins championships?
It's the lines.
Defense and running the ball. Yeah. Defense and running the ball. And I think Philadelphia definitely has that advantage. They showed that against the Commanders. I honestly, I didn't see that coming. As much as we talked about how much of a stronger roster the Eagles are, I thought Sirianni was still going to get in the way of having a blowout win. We talked about, we expected Philadelphia to win, but I didn't think it was going to be 55-24 or whatever it was.
To be fair to the Commanders, I mean, the Eagles did score 21 points in the fourth quarter. Fair. It was a close game. Okay.
Yeah, I think they pulled to 34-23.
Yeah, I mean, and the Commanders had the ball to make it a one-score game. Like, it wasn't a blowout. But then just all of a sudden, they just leaned on them. I mean, they just leaned on them, and it was just over.
And by the end of it, that last touchdown, it was all backups. It was the Philadelphia backups where I don't even remember his name. The third-string running back rips off a 60-yard touchdown. Almost felt like they had just about just given up at that point.
I mean, well, because they were just getting their
mauled.
Teeth kicked in.
Yeah. Yep.
But a lot of it in the fourth quarter was just a team that was beaten physically and mentally, and then the Eagles just didn't let. I mean, look, the Eagles are a really good team. They didn't let up. When we talked about it before the playoffs, I said I thought the Eagles were going to come out of the NFC. Right.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that the winner of the Baltimore Buffalo game was going to be the team that came out of the AFC. Obviously, I was wrong. I guess I shouldn't doubt the Chiefs, but
maybe we shouldn't doubt the Chiefs even now.
Yeah, I mean that's that kind of percolates in the back of my mind, right? Like am I not seeing something that the Chiefs are seeing? Because the odds makers, right? What do they have in terms of the favorite? I'm certain. Who's the favorite in that game?
The Chiefs.
Chiefs are favored by 1.5.
Yeah. I mean, those folks in Vegas are not dumb, right?
No. They're way smarter than I am. All right. They don't draft Jets. They don't draft Jets like Breece Hall in their fantasy league like I do. So we know that Vegas knows more than Patrick. All right. But man, I'm not a gambler, so
it's surprising, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Like the numbers, why do the numbers favor the Chiefs there? And maybe this is just a betting public, or what they think they can get from the public, and that's why that's the case. But I would think the analytics would show the. Yeah, I would think the analytics show the Eagles being a better team.
Yep. I think that's it's that intangible. They keep winning in the face of surmounting odds. The Chiefs keep winning, and it took, that really in week 17 or week 18, they rested all their starters and got blown out by the Broncos, right? But before that,
they should take that game out if they're doing it.
Yeah. Any kind of analysis. Yeah. So really the only loss of the season for these Kansas City Chiefs was
the Bills.
It took a superhuman to make a superhuman play on that 4th and 2 run to actually lock down the victory. I think if they hadn't made it on that play, 4th and 2, even if they'd hit a field goal, the field goal would have. They were up.
Give them a 4-point lead. Yeah.
They were up 1. I thought the touchdown got them up to 9. They ended up being up 9.
I'm sorry. I was thinking that the Bills, if they got in the field goal after the 4th and 1.
Yeah, no, not in this one. I'm talking about the regular season game.
Yeah.
if they turn the ball over, I think Kansas City drives down and hits scores a touchdown and wins that game. So it took a superhuman to make a superhuman play.
And that was a heck of a play by Allen.
It was.
I mean, he's a hoss. And I just like
made contact with the safety at the 7-yard line.
I'm just a little nervous that you're taking with a guy who's on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and he's not going to win anything.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of squirmy nerves about, like.
Well, so to make the full circle, we're in the last 2 minutes of the show. To make full circle, right? I don't know which is worse, having a superstar Hall of Fame trajectory player who never wins on your team, a la Jim Kelly, or what if I think it's worse what's happened with Luka, and what if Josh Allen does the unthinkable and leaves the Buffalo Bills because he can't win there?
Okay, so if you're a Dallas Mavs fan, the nightmare is that Luka doesn't win the title with Dallas, and he goes and wins two or three with LA.
I think he will. I think they've got the money, they've got the market. They'll be able to. I thought the Dallas Mavericks were on such a good trajectory. They've got interior defense. They added Clay. Clay's been shooting almost 39% from three. After a slow start to the season, he'd come around. I was just waiting for Luka to come back from injury and have this team just skyrocket and become one of the 2 or 3 best between Oklahoma City, Denver, and then the Mavericks. Just become a top team. Go up from there. I think they're in the 7th spot right now. Go up into the top 3 by the end of the season and make noise again. I mean, I'm bummed. I mean, as I said, it wasn't just a figurative. It was a literal gut punch. I felt like I couldn't breathe for those 10 seconds as I'm staring at it, trying to make it make sense, trying to understand what my eyes were reading could possibly be true, that the Dallas Mavericks have traded away Luka Doncic.
I mean, the headline on ESPN's website is "There's genuine confusion around the league."
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think the Lakers immediately, unless there's something happens here where there's a question of coexistence, because they're both such ball-heavy offensive players. But I think these two will figure that out, and I think they're going to be unstoppable. As much as I've hated on LeBron over the years, I mean, one thing I always give him is his commitment to the body, to the conditioning, to be able to perform at a high level at this age. And I think he's still got another year or two of high quality play in him left, and give him Luka Doncic along with that. It's I think they're the favorites now. Maybe
I don't know if they're the betting favorites now. I just don't follow the NBA enough to know that. But man, their odds certainly had to have improved a lot. What a mind-boggling trade.
It is. All right. Well, maybe we'll have more insight by next Sunday. We can talk a little bit more, but
and we can really talk about the game next Sunday. Preview the game,
of course. And yes, no matter how much insight we gain between now and then, it's still not going to make sense. You do not ever give up a generational talent like this, no matter what. You try to hang on to him until the last second. You parlay a Rudy Gobert. You parlay a Donovan
You hang on
Mitchell.
until you actually hang on too long as opposed to too early for this.
Yep. So it's this is going to take a while. All right, Shep, always a pleasure. Good. Thank you for keeping me honest, not letting me fall too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole. And I mean, it's disappointing. It was disappointment last week. I thought I was going to have a reprieve. I was fearing a possible disappointment next Sunday if the Kansas City Chiefs now turn around and don't complete the three-peat and lose as my second favorite. I didn't want back-to-back disappointment. separate by 2 weeks, but I thought I would have a reprieve this week. But man, this Luka Doncic thing just came out of nowhere and just an absolute gut punch.
Yep.
All right. Well,
All right,
always a pleasure. Let's see what the world, the sports world, has for our spotlight next Sunday.
All right, man. See you.
Thank you. All right. That was Shep. Always wonderful to have him on the air. Thank you so much for those of you who've been listening. This is Rizwan signing off from Radio Azad for the Sports Spotlight. We'll be back next Sunday with more things sports.
You are listening to Radio Azad, where your voice matters. Entertain, inform, inspire.